Hello everyone, Morris here, and today I want to share with you the top epic runes and charms used by the top teams in Axie Infinity Origins Season 4, the early epic era. So of course it is the early meta, and the marketplace has not been opened to the epic runes and charms, so that's why this is definitely not like the indicative of the late meta of the era. But having said that, hopefully this will give you some information on which runes, especially the epic runes that you can pick from the choice box if you haven't done that yet. And so yeah, let's look at what the top players have actually picked and actually using for their top teams. Okay, as usual, there's a blog post that you can go ahead and read as well if you are interested. So, but I'm just going to dive into the data for today. Sorry, it's a bit small, but if you do want to look at it more, definitely check out the links below in the description with the blog post. So, okay, so for the first top 100 teams is actually a bit different from the top 1,000. That's because, as we've seen before, there are more topaz team at the top, and so you do see Leech being used the most as well, a good counter to sustain for sure, but also they usually have a bug as a front. And then we have Last Wish. Last Wish has been like everywhere basically because it is a neutral rune at this point. If you craft it, you probably will use it just because it's not that easy to get a or at least craft a epic rune, right? So if you manage to get a neutral one, why not just put it on? And then Lens of Truth is an interesting one that I actually don't know. Like, oh, it's interesting to like attack against secret stuff. So again, it could be something to do with like attack against sustain as well. So because Lens of Truth removes secrets, the single attack. I think actually not single attack. Any attack removes secrets. One secret, I think, one random secret from the opponent. And then we have Wicked Ward. So Wicked Ward is a very good example of basically just a rune that fits a particular archetype, in this case Jinx, and that's why it's there. Okay, and then we also have calcium armor and other things as well. So actually, let's look at the top 1,000 just because, right, of course, 100 is really not that big of a pool. Right? If you really want to think about, okay, so which charms and runes would be like most popular? Of course, I'm not going to speculate about the market price or anything, but like if you think about, okay, which one will be like most used, right? Then we can actually look at the top 1,000 and see that Last Wish is actually the one that is most used, and after that is Leech as well. So Leech is still pretty good because not just for Topaz team, but for aggro as well. Right? If you have a front with Leech, then it allows you to get through the sustain pretty well as well. So that's why Leech, even with like despite the nerf, is still pretty strong. Okay, and the other one that's worth noting is actually Moonlight Thief because Moonlight Thief historically have been very strong, and now Fragments has not been, like I guess actually Fragments has been even more useful now with the keep mechanic, and so maybe having like extra fragment allows you to not just get to the counter turn but also keep more. So that's why I think the fragment advantage could be pretty crucial, and that's why Moonlight Thief is used quite a bit. But of course, a lot of it is just maybe based on historical like power level. Maybe things will change once people figure out which ones are better than others and which ones might not work out. And then we do have a calcium armor, the prehistoric armor as well, so, Hearty Warrior. So those are the, I would say, high power level stuff. And then a Leaf Cloak as well. Yeah, so it's quite a lot of different ones here. Of course, I'm not going to go through all of these, but do feel free to just go into the blog post or pause the video and just to look at which are the top runes. Okay, then let's move on to the charms. For the charms, it's very interesting as well. And yeah, Scotch tape is still the king. And that's like across the board, right? Not just the top 100, but basically even the top 1,000 is like just the most used, like overall for sure, right? By far. This is, in a way, I was slightly surprised by it, partly because it's, like the keep mechanic has changed, so maybe keep is not as important, or like rather like having the card is not as important just because Oh, well, okay, having the card is important, but using a charm to keep the card might not be as important just because it's relatively easy to keep now with just one energy fragment. But still, yeah, Scotch shape is still pretty good, and sticky octopus as well. You can see sticky octopus also amongst the top, also allows you to keep things as well, and sticky lizard as well. But sticky lizard is not as well used because it fights with the gecko mask, which I think is, and again, the gecko mask is really like one of the, I would say, power level wise the strongest because it's one of the rare, not rare, one of the only, actually the only charm that gives you taunt. It is an epic charm, but yeah, so like this, the mechanic of taunt is really very useful, and so putting it on a epic charm is just too good in that sense, right? It's just, yeah, it's always good to have. That's how I feel. Um, and then we have bubble paste as well. So bubble paste is another one that I think, okay, bubble paste is more for Nemo, I would assume. Basically, it allows you to get to a few bubbles. I don't think it is a full-on bubble team. I haven't really seen a full-on bubble team yet, but I mean, having or playing Nemo for free, well, for zero cost, and getting some bubbles, then why not, right? So it's a pretty good, yeah, pretty good use of the PP, I would say, the potential point. And then, yes, of course, there are other things up here, but I don't think I'll go through all of them. And this, again, will probably change depending on how the meta shifts, especially when like new teams come up that might rise to the top, then everyone plays that team, then this whole thing will shift for sure. Okay, so this is pretty much the data that I want to show for today. So do note that it is not like financial advice in the sense that I don't speculate price based on this because things will definitely change. Having said that, yeah, there's definitely historical reasons for why Scotch tape has been used a lot. But who knows? Maybe people figure out that it's not that good because now keep is just so strong, and you want to put something else. Who knows, right? So do not speculate anything based on this data in terms of like the prices and anything. Uh, okay, but hopefully this will give you some information that's useful for when you actually pick your runes and charms and think about, well, what other people are playing and why other people are playing certain runes and charms. Okay, so that is it for today. Thank you for joining me in this video, and I'll see you in the next video.